The school festival is coming. Class 1-3 is putting up a class play, and Shima is out here fighting for his life. This boy is struggling out here. So we'll just have to see how he continues to struggle in this episode, huh? If you guys like the video, like the video. If you dislike it, dislike it. I do have my full length up on Patreon and early access in the YouTube membership. So, you know, pick your poison. Whichever one is fine. But other than that, let us get started. Family Singers. Published by A Family. Oh, it's a musical? Oh, yeah, this man's having a Sunday all to himself. Handsy in the Dark? Haunted House Art Band. Wow. You couldn't refuse. But he's been begged. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No shame if we're all in it, if we're all embarrassing ourselves. Oh, you're a yes man, huh? He has to fit into the mask that he wore. The poor sucker! The poor sucker! You're just an aloof boy out here. Then fucking tell them. I don't want to talk about it. He's breaking it all for Ririka. I mean, not breaking it, but he's keeping it all for Ririka. Of course she's gonna come and watch. You always had so much fun. Oh. We're dried up. So good that it should never have. Such a bro. Hey, you know what? At least it was outside and not in a contained room. Damn, dude, it's so serious. Everybody's been split into like, wow. Efficient, dude. A rule breaker. The captain's manor. Holy shit. His family of just girls. Oh no, there is some boys in there. Oh my god, I've been watching people play the game Stray Gods, so like all my head has just been in musicals, and now I'm just here like oh god, I'm back into another musical. Also directing? Oh? Oh, Mika's a little jealous, huh? Oh. 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 A peace treaty. But it has to be. The boyfriend just hands her over. She's too busy. She's too busy to think about it. School festival magic. For love? More work. Shouldn't have asked.
けると思う。おお、さすが。ありがとう。私も参加したかったから。
Oh.
でも昨日もパンフ持ち帰って内職してたからな。ちょっと眠い。
Overworking. Oh.
ちょっと休んだら。
大丈夫大丈夫、ありがとう。
いや、仕事もらいすぎじゃないかな。
Nah, nah, nah,
ちょっと
nah,
他
nah.
の人に振るとか。
楽しくてやってるからいいんだ。頼りにされるの嬉しいし。
Yeah, but it's too much.
イベントせっかくだから目いっぱいやってみたい。
そっか。
じゃあ練習頑張って。
Off she goes.
はい、ゲット。はい、オッケーです。いやー、よかったんじゃない？
Oh, he's having
一
flashbacks.
旦休憩挟みます。お母さん、お母さん見てた？見てたよ、そうすけ。すっごい上手だったよ。頑張ったね。
Oh, I got to see the mom's face. Oh, my little money maker.
ほどほどにしなさいよ。
Everyone keeps saying that, but she's keep doing it.
そうだ、劇の動画も見ないと。
You're gonna fucking cut yourself like this. Don't sleep with scissors in your hand.
ごめん、おはよう。おはよう、岩倉さん。変わるよ。どう？なんかいい案ある？本当にごめん。
I fell asleep. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
今からでも見返して。みつみかも。浅野さん、中庭じゃない？ちょっと行ってくるね。
What about lunch? Yeah! I was just thinking. Excuse me, ma'am. You need a rest.
見てないなら急いで来ることなかったじゃん。岩倉さんね。
Y'all talking shit about her? Uh-oh.
岩倉さんいつも走ってんな。
Reminds
シマ
him of himself.
転びそうで、傷つきそうで。
できないなら最初から引き受けないでほしいんだよね。ちょっと空回ってるよね。
She's kind of like running around in
ま
circles.
だ小さな子供みたいに。
Like a small child, not knowing much about the world.
会社に電話してくるなよ。
あなたが出張だって嘘ついて。どうしてそんな開き直るの？ どうしたの？
So his acting career is the only thing that's,
ちょっと本当。
you know, it's the little fights that where you break stuff.
次のセリフまで
So, yeah.
全部覚えたんだよ。
But what?
すごいじゃない、宗介。あ、僕らだけで行くんだ。作戦は僕が考える。看護師さんの見回りは時間が決まってる。1時間に1
Huh.
回。
Wow, it's that same fakish smile that you've got as well.
もう10月とは思えないね。
うん。
Oh.
さっきすることはやっぱり浅野さんたちの話聞こえてて
うんふん
心配して、すごい素敵だったよ、島くんのヨハン。
素敵ではないでしょう、ヨハンは。
No, she's saying that you're great as Johan. not- Oops. You got pulled into this.
前にいろいろ聞いてたはずなのに、
Hmm.
というかなんとなく引っかかってたのに
But you
都合よく
didn't?
解釈しようとしてたっていう。ごめんね。
いやいや、それははっきり。
Oh, you were also very busy with work.
さっき中庭で言われてたの聞いたと思うけど、自分で仕事を引き受けておいてすっぽかしちゃったんだ。やりたい気持ちだけで結局他の人に迷惑かけて、自分が大変な時でもこうやって心配してくれてるのに、なんか私全然周りが見えてなかったなーって。
そこまで気にしなくても、本人的には真剣なんだろう。こんなことで泣くんだな。母数多けりゃ揉め事だって当然増えるし、今なんかマシな方でしょ。
Alright, some.
東京に来て官僚なんか。
Damn, this man's really out here fucking roasting her. Yeah, you're gonna cry about this little thing. These fucking politicians will eat you up.
傷つかないで。そのまんま変わらないでいて。
I don't want you to grow up. If she's like a child.
気まずくない？浅野さんとか。
でも話したいこともあるんだ。
Yeah. If you're gonna talk shit, do it in front of me at the very least.
その分起き上がるのもむちゃくちゃ得意なんだから。
You know, that's like in a lot of martial art classes. like judo and stuff, you know, you gotta learn how to fall in order to recover. 30 days. Oh, shit, it's his birthday too? What the f- I'm just thinking about how, like, you know, all these kids working for like 30 days or 40 for like 2 months. I was still there thinking, it's just like, wow, this is some free child labor right here. So it's a week before, alright. Oh, this is the mom? Or, I mean, I would assume so, right? Okay. They really just, no, not the next episode. Damn, they're really out here showing us the last scene of just 3D models. Ah! Ah! Okay, so the school festival is here in the next episode. But until then, I'm gonna go write my notes and we will be right back to the center. I find it very fun that Mika's playing, I was gonna say the mother priestess for some reason, but like, I mean, she's the mother abbess. I guess? I don't know. Anyways, I just find it very fun that Mika's playing the mother, and the line that she has is, "Look yourself in the mirror, Lyra." Alright, Mika. If she didn't watch it, what was the point of rushing to school? If she couldn't do it, she could have said, she shouldn't have said yes at all. Well, you know, she's kind of like running around in circles. I'm gonna fuck Asano up! How the fuck dare she, alright? You know that she was busy. You fucking said that she was busy. And then you give her this big fucking task that you for the most part, know that she can't do it because she's busy with all these other fucking work. And of course, like, if you know that she's pushing herself, just be like, hey, I don't know, like, hey, if you can do it, that's fine. That's totally fine if you can't do it. You know, but here it is. If you want to help, and if not, that's totally fine. No need to fucking complain about it, alright? You already know the fucking risk. You little fucker, it already didn't, she was also already rubbing me the wrong way when, like, because, like, this whole thing was her idea, right? And which also, I get it, right? She with, like, her whole fucking speech and shit, like, she's very passionate about wanting to put a musical stuff, right? And everybody was very helpful to want to help out, and, like, she should at least take that fucking charity of, like, people wanting to help her. Don't fucking complain about other shit, alright? Look, if there's the one time that I could just reach into my screen and smack someone in the back of the head, it would be her. Okay, you know, I thought I was finished with this, but I was going back and, like, I was thinking about how Mitsumi was deciding that she was going to go watch it during lunchtime, and she's got an idea and all that. And then, and it's like, alright, Asano, like, the school day's not over yet. Why the fuck are you fucking complaining? You know, it's just like, oh, well, you know, that sucks. Maybe you can do it tomorrow or whatever, right? Whenever you have fucking free time. And, again, like, you knew that she was fucking busy. You know, I never finished that whole, like, on how, like, Asano was rubbing me the wrong way in terms of, like, well, but I guess I kind of backtrack in terms of, like, I guess it is, like, her passion, right? She was passionate about it, right? She did this whole thing. She's playing the main character. She's also directing. I think she's also doing the advertising as well. I mean, and since she's a director, right? She's doing all, like, the whole screen time play. So, like, she's got a lot on her plate. And if she's got a lot on her plate, she should fucking realize that Mitsumi also has a lot on her plate. Alright, I want to stop this now. Alright, so that was episode 10 of Skip and Loafer. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys. For me, I thought that this was a pretty good episode. We've got quite a few things happening. The school festival is coming. We've got a week away. And I was gonna say Shima's mom, but technically she's also a Shima, so Sousuke's mom found out that there's going to be a play happening in his class for the school festival. So maybe she'll be curious and she'll come back and she'll be like, wow, my son, he's getting back into acting again. I can't believe it. And also, before all of this, I just want to put out a... Okay, when we got into a little bit more, because I've been talking about it, where I would like to see more about Shima's parents and all that, because like a lot of the things that we're running on is just a whole bunch of assumptions and such. By we, I mean me, and so, dude, when they showed this, and like they showed like a slice of the slice of life into Shima's childhood, all I could think about is, wow, I felt genuinely sad. I've been over here like, oh man, she's really over here making him like he's a fucking moneymaker out here, right? Which, that's just me having a usual negative connotation of parents and child acting for the most part, because there's a lot of parents who don't know how to parent. One thing, that's one thing. But there's a lot of parents who want to push their wish and dreams onto their children because they never could have done it themselves. Or, they use them as a money-making machine, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna put you into child acting, or I'm gonna start recording you and have a family channel. But, the family channels are kind of dead for the most part if you want to try and make money anyways. So there's that, and so I kind of just have a negative connotation when it comes to this whole thing in the first place. So when Shima's talking about how he and his parents don't really eat with each other anymore, and how like his parents basically, in what it feels like for him, maybe that they've moved on without him, right? They've got like a son now and everything. To which, by the way, now I just have this other question where it's like, did she divorce the dad, and then that's why she married someone else, and that's why she had another kid with this one person? Or like, is she still staying with this one person and like they've had another kid by then? Just because the way that they were arguing, right? And how the guy got angry at her for calling his workplace because he lied about his needing stuff, right? That sounds very much like a cheating thing, right? She's just like, how am I in the wrong here? You're the one who lied about it. I was just calling in to make sure, right? And he's getting angry at her, which is just him trying to get her to back off, right? Him being angry. So... So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Again, we don't have a lot of context, and like I'm making do with like very little context. But that's kind of the way that I felt that the whole conversation was going. And since I'm already talking about his mom, let's just talk a little bit about Shima's past and stuff, right? So with Shima saying that he started his child acting and such because he wanted to cheer up his mom, and it kind of makes me wonder how that got into the whole cheering up thing in the first place. But and like who registers him, whether he did it himself. But it seems like the way that he says that makes his mom happy is the fact that if he works hard, this could prove to be a bit of a distraction for the distress that his father is putting upon his mother. And it's really fun that, you can see the fucking Shima genes out here, and the way that she smiles at him, right? Where he's reciting his lines, and then he looks on over to his mom, and his mom gives him a smile that looks very much like him, right? It's a very similar smile, and it's that smile that's like, I'm in a lot of pain right now, but I'm gonna fucking smile to you. Because I don't want you to fucking see it, right? Because, of course, when it comes to parents, they want to be the strong one for their kids, right? To make sure that their kids don't have to deal with all this distress that they're dealing with. Which is very understandable. but it seems like that's something that Shima, technically Sousuke, they're both Shimas, that Sousuke ended up adopting as well, as he goes through his sad boy hour as well, right? He's going through, like, the same sad boy hour as his mom is. Although I guess it'd be sad mom hour, I guess, huh? I said I guess twice. Wow, Jesus. But alright, moving a little bit away from Sousuke's mom, I'm not really gonna talk much about the whole musical stuff and like the whole setting up stuff. I feel like I've already said my piece about Asano, so we're gonna lay off of her for now. And we're gonna head on over to my next talking point, which is honestly back to Shima, now that I think about it. So here we are. Shima ends up getting pressured into playing a role. You know, Yamada's just out here like, hey man, please play a role, because he wants to stand out, and if Shima is on the play, right, more people will watch, and so he's gonna have more chance to stand out. Yamada anyways. Shima was, at first, he was trying to slowly slip away, right? He's like, oh, I can't sing, I'm not a good singer. And Yamada's like, you're great at you're okay at karaoke. Come on, man. You gotta do it for me. And then Suda, that one guy, is just like, oh, I'll also be a part of the play, right? Yamada's just like, come on, man. Confidence in numbers, right? We're all gonna embarrass ourselves, so you might as well come in and join us. And I like that here at this point, Shima comes to the realization that, oh shit, right? I've been putting on this mask this whole time where I'm the guy who says yes to everything. I'm a yes man. What a fucking dummy. You shouldn't have put that reputation on yourself. But you know what? What's done is done, huh? So with this, Shima goes and talks about it with Chris, his bro out here, right? And I really enjoy seeing the amount of Chris that we have, right? Chris is like the Fumi to Shima right now. I don't know, maybe. But Chris is worried, right, about Shima's school life and his friends and such, because, as he says, if you're more concerned about breaking character than your own feelings, you're going to snap at some point, and people are going to realize that, and, you know, people are going to see that you're not being entirely honest, right? And that's going to push people away. And that's a very bad thing, and I like that Chris points that out, right? It's like, hey, dude, I know that you're putting on a fucking mask, and, you know, you're distancing yourself. And that makes Shima realizes, oh yeah, I do that, right? Because his friend, I forgot what his name is, had said, like, hey, are you sure about this? Because he knows about his past as well, and Shima's just like, it's alright, no worries. And then his friend goes back to being like, well, as long as you're fine with it, right? And it's just like, well, obviously he's not fine with it, but he's putting on this mask, and that's why the other guy's just like, well, as long as you're fine with it. And I love that Shima's just like, oh yeah, you're right. But he goes and he says, but I'm more comfortable keeping a little distance, right? And he keeps his distance because he doesn't want people to pry into his child acting days, and he doesn't want to make Ririka's life any harder. And you can see that right here, fucking Ririka is keeping this boy on a goddamn leash, dude. On a motherfucking emotional leash. And he tells himself that, right? That he's more comfortable keeping a little distance because he doesn't want people to be prying. And as he says, if that means I'm secretive and can't make any real friends, then it is what it is. Right? He's putting on his don't care crown out here. Like, oh, it is what it is, right? Just gotta fucking roll with it. And, well, you know, he certainly got rolled over, so... Also, going back on the topic of his mom, just because, I mean, she's literally related to him, so... I also forgot to talk about this one point, too, where he's talking about how all of the attention is on the new son now, and he's not particularly in the you know, again, he doesn't really eat dinner with his family and all that, right? He spends time with other people with his friends, right? He tries to get time away from the house and everything. And kind of what he says about Johan and how Johan's character fits him very well, that he's willing to run away from his own family as well. And just like Again, I said the whole negative connotation made me think that, like, oh, the mom's just like, well, I don't give a shit about you anymore. I'm literally gonna birth a new child. I'm gonna raise him instead. But it seems like from the way that it is, right, Shima is the one who is running away from his own family. He's the one who's refusing to, I would assume, eat at the table. And he's refusing to hang out with his family up to the point where his family doesn't even ask him to come with them to, like, the aquarium or something, right? And it seems like perhaps okay. We're still on the topic of the Shima family. So with him reciting the story of Johan, where he, Johan the gardener falls in love with Amelia, but a guy he respects, right, is a fascist, and so he follows him into fascism, and his earnest nature doesn't allow him to back out. And so I kind of wonder if, not to say that the forbidden love is his mother, Shima's, but he did it. He did it for his mom, but then enticed by a man he respects. And I wonder if that's, like, some of the adults that ended up getting him into the whole fucking, not drinking stuff, but, into the whole karaoke booth where they're all drinking, right? Because it seems like, just from the way that Ririka was showing she wasn't showing the flashback, but in Ririka's flashback, and how she was the one who was uncomfortable, and then when we saw Shima, he was the one who was just out here hanging out, being chill and all cool with the other adults who are drinking and such. Maybe that's just him putting on his mask. I don't know, right? But that could be it. And and with him saying that Johan is desperate to believe his cause is just, but he lacks conviction and faith, and I'm like, is that, like, believing it's in his, like, whole acting career? This is me poorly trying to interpret stuff. Right, so I do wonder if, like, that's because, like, he wants to do the whole acting thing, but he lacks conviction and faith because, as he said, he didn't do it because he loves it, or that he had fun, even though his friends said that he had fun, but he did it because of his mother, right? And that's the reason why he kept on with the whole child acting stuff. Which also, now I think about it, with Chris saying, "Hey, you're always the one who had the most fun out of all of us," it kind of goes back on the idea of maybe Shima did have fun in its own ways on child acting, I don't know why I keep saying child acting, on his acting, but because of what happened, right? Because of the whole 6th grade incident, because of the whole fallout that he has with his mom, with his family, it kind of makes me wonder if he now thinks in his head, like, oh, I only did this for my mother's love, right? I actually didn't have fun or anything, but here's Chris, who has said, yeah, you were always the one who looked like you were having the most fun out of everyone. So, okay, very nice. Anyways, back into the whole Johan story stuff, right? In the end, crushed by his immense guilt, he runs away from his family, right? Yeah, he turns his back on the family and runs away. So, yeah, it's very nice just to say that this is, like, the retold story, and, like, how Shima relates to Johan a lot. So, very fun. I also like the one part where Mitsumi goes and says to Shima that, oh, hey, your Johan was really good. And then Shima's just like, Johan's not that great of a guy. It was just so funny because he's just like, no, she's talking about your acting, not Johan as a character. Here it is, where she says, your Johan was really great. I don't know, maybe in Japanese it was something different, right? But the way that the translator wrote it, right? Your Johan was really great. And he responds, come on, Johan isn't great at all. Anyway, since we're here, this is the scene where Shima is trying to cheer up Mitsumi after Mitsumi found out that Asano's out here talking shit on her. How the fuck dare she, alright? So Mitsumi realizes both that Shima is trying to cheer her up, and also Shima didn't want to do this whole acting thing in the first place, and yet Mitsumi didn't know about it then, or she had a suspicion, but she kind of just played it off as, oh, it'll be alright, and she didn't really stand up for him and make sure that he's, not going to do something that's going to make him uncomfortable. Very nice in her realization, and just the way that she realizes it, right? And the way that she goes and says, you heard what they said in the courtyard, right? I took on a job myself and failed to deliver. I had the desire, but I did the opposite of helping out. To which, again, it's still the entire fucking school day, or whatever. Meanwhile, you're worrying about me when you're dealing with problems of your own. Now I see, I wasn't thinking of anyone but myself. God, Mitsumi sure knows how to find ways to, Mitsumi sure knows how to find ways to put it on herself. In a way, the way that Mitsumi sees it, I do like it, right? She does not find a fault of anybody else, right? Even though we've got, what was her name? I literally just said it. Asano, there you go. We've got Asano, who's just out here talking shit about her, but she's just like, you know what? She's right. Those girls who we're talking about, they're right about me. Right? She doesn't find a fault within them, right? She doesn't blame people externally, which, kind of opposites her and Mika, where Mitsumi blames internally while Mika blames externally. And then here in the scene, just from the single bead of sweat that they've got on him and the way that he sits while Mitsumi is just out here crying, this is the boy who is very uncomfortable of having someone cry around him. Someone who's just like, oh, someone's crying right next to me. I'm so uncomfortable because I don't know what to do. Relatable. But here in this part is what I'd like to say, but there's also this other part that I didn't mention before, but I'll just say it here instead of just scrolling back, right? Shima looks at Mitsumi and sees her enthusiasm, and it was reminding Shima of himself. Right, at first he's just like, what was I thinking about, what was I flashbacking to my child acting days? I don't know. But then he sees her again, and he realizes that, yeah, she reminds him of himself. Oh, like, she's always running, on the brink of tripping and getting hurt like a child. And that brings us back to here in this spot, where he... also, he kind of goes and he says this quote, where as he thinks about like how he's a little surprised, right, that Mitsumi would cry over something like this. He's like, oh, I'm sure it's a big deal to her, but I can't believe she'd cry over this. It's just like, alright, dude, like, shut up. Anytime I hear somebody who's just like, oh, I didn't realize it was that big of a deal to you, the fact that you'd cry over this, I'm just over here like, shut up. Be quiet. Actually, no, the whole, like, I didn't know that it was a big deal to you, that one's fine, but, like, the whole saying of, I didn't think that you'd cry over this, is just like, shut up! Again, it goes back to the idea of, shut up! It kind of goes into that idea of, like, oh, well, why are you crying over this? This is such a small thing, you don't need to cry. The only reason why you should be crying, right, is if it's something that's bad that's happened in your life. Well, I mean, this is technically something that's bad that happened in her life, but like family death or something, or some super serious situation, right? That's not like this, right? That's the time when you can cry, right? That's kind of like the whole idea of like, oh, you'd cry over this. Anyways, my crybaby defense is over. But he has this quote where he says, the more people in your life, the more conflicts you'll have. And I mean, in terms of statistics, yeah, I guess that is correct. The more people in your life, the more percentage that you'll have of more conflicts, maybe, huh? It's like being a leader of 100 people versus a million people, right? You'll have more percentages of certain things happening in a bigger environment. But when he says that, all I could think of was, I don't know, Shima, maybe you shouldn't try and befriend some toxic people in your life, huh? maybe you should cut out Ririka from your life. Look, if she's gonna try and fucking guilt trip you for the rest of your fucking life, like, look, at that point, again, just fucking cut her out of your life and be like, bro, it's been 10 years, alright? Get over it. Actually, she can't get over it because the internet will literally hound on her about it for the rest of her life. So she literally can't get over it. I mean, she should. She should get over it, right? And try to, you know, blossom and bloom and do whatever her own things instead of staying in the past. Anyways, as I was saying, you know, sometimes you've gotta nip the poison in the bud. I don't think that's what the saying goes, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, all I was saying is that, you know, maybe you shouldn't make so many meet with toxic people in your life. Is this victim blaming? Alright, what was I talking about again? Oh, nipping the bud in your life. Don't let it, especially if it's bad for you. Don't let it blossom. Get him out of here. So with that quote, more people, more conflicts. Oh, this motherfucker said it isn't that bad. I just realized, because with him, you know, with me going on the whole rant about crying and all that, right? I'm sure it's a big deal to her. And then, but I'm surprised. That's what you said. Yeah, I'm surprised. I can't believe she cried over this. And then it's like the more people, more conflict. This isn't even that bad. And it's just like, all right, that goes back to the idea of like you can only cry when it's like very serious and heavy things. Like you can't cry over trivial matters. Which it's like if you want to cry over trivial matters and people don't let you, you're just gonna bottle it all up again, right? And it's either you're gonna cry about it or you're gonna get really fucking angry. That's usually the one of two options, right? But anyways, I just want to let you know that if you are a guy, you know, it's okay for you to cry, because crying is literally one of the ways to help relieve your stress. Alright? I personally think that there are times where you shouldn't be crying, but those are like the 1 fucking %, aka when you're in like a fucking crisis situation. Alright, you're like there's like a hostage situation happening and all that, and you're just over here crying. You know, but that's like a 1% shit, right? Very, very much a 1% thing. But even then, right, the only thing that I want you to do there is not actually, no, that 1%, it's not that I don't want you to not cry during those 1% situations. It's more like I want you to be alert and know that, you know, you should stay active and again, alert. I can't think of another word for alert right now. So, you know, you can cry during those times as well, you know, just don't only cry, right? Try to do something else as well, right? You can cry while, I was gonna say you can cry while shooting a gun. Hey, yeah, that's like fucking Bakano out here, dude. You know, the fucking guy with like the it's not a scar tattoo, but he has like a cross tattoo and he's like a fucking crybaby, but he's also a leader of a fucking gang. I love that guy. He's good, dude. He's out here with his fucking Tommy guns shooting at people while crying. Hell yeah. Anywho, with the next line where Shima says, "Are you sure you want to be in Tokyo and in politics?" Alright, that I suppose that's also him saying like, "Oh, you're gonna cry over this trivial matter? Well, when you come into the political world, they're going to fucking eat you alive. They're fucking wolves." Which, understandable, right? When he says it from that standpoint, I get it. But if you leave that out, how dare you? But he says, "Sure, my high school life is more fun with you around, but you would be happier by the mountains and the sea. Or I feel like you'd be happier. I want you to never get hurt and just stay the way you are," right? Which, this is Shima and like him running away from change yet again, right? There's some part of him that wants him to change, but there are multiple other parts that's keeping him down from changing. You know, Ririka being the biggest one so far. Well, Ririka and himself being the biggest one so far. But there's just some spect within him that wants to change, and that's why he still hangs out with Mitsumi, and that's why he had considered just for a moment to take that script from Kanichika. So yes, you still got that part, but right here, right, you can definitely see that he is afraid of change, and change hurts. You're going to get hurt when you change eventually, right? But at the same time, being hurt is just part of life, right? Some people get hurt more than others, unfortunately, but being hurt is something that is that is universal to all humans. And here with Shima saying, I want her to stay the way she is, and that kind of incorporates back to what he was thinking about Mitsumi, and that Mitsumi reminds him of himself, and reminds him of a child, right? That childlike glee, that childlike enthusiasm, right? Wanting to help everybody, even though they're already overstuffed, and so he doesn't want her to change, even though that is technically what she's been doing throughout this whole entire series, right? She's been developing on herself, she's been changing, she's been learning from other people. But in the way that she changes, she still is herself, right? And Shima is afraid of when he changes that he won't be himself anymore. Albeit he technically isn't really himself at the current moment, like I would say his true self, you know? With again, with just the implication of when Chris is talking about how he had so much more fun than everybody else back in those days. So who knows? But I love the juxtaposition when he goes and he says this, and immediately, not immediately right after, but this actually this was this is not a juxtaposition, sorry, I apologize, but it was after they started singing and dancing, and Shima was wondering, like, are you sure you want to go to and talk to Asano? You don't want to go to the nurse's office? You know, you don't want to hide? That's what Shima would have done. Oh, you talk shit about me? I gotta go sit down in the nurse's office about this. I'm gonna go cry about it, but I won't let anybody else know. But with Mitsumi, but here is Mitsumi who says, I'm the kind of person who falls flat on her face a lot, but that makes me a pro at dusting myself off and getting back up. And I love that, right? Because here's both minds. Oh, there goes Crunchyroll fucking forcing me to log in again. Oh, I just realized. Well, actually, I feel like I kind of caught it, but haven't really thought too much about it. But in his imagination, right, with her doing this pose, and then right after all that, we get to see, and after, you know, her saying about all of this, and she does this, right, which is very much of what he was picturing her, you know, except, you know, it's a little bit more like towards behind and her doing this. Very fun, dude. What a cool person. But as I was saying, I love this in terms of seeing both of their mindsets, right? Shima is afraid to get hurt, while Mitsumi does get hurt often. She falls flat on her face often, right? She embarrasses herself often, but she bounced back up and she continues on with her life, right? She gets hurt. You know, that also is very fun because, like, that kind of is, that in itself is almost like a childish-like spirit as well, right? Because, you know, there are some kids who run around, they trip themselves, they hurt themselves, but then they'll just get back up and they just start running around and start doing other things again, right? Because even though they're hurt and all that, they're still having a lot of fun, right? And they're able to just bounce back up and just fucking go with it. And so you know, when I think about that, that is in itself a little bit like a childish endeavors, but it is something that, you know, a lot of us would want to have, to be able to bounce back that easily. So we've got Mitsumi, who is pushing forward. She is changing in her own little ways, right? And just the way that Shima says it, in like that feeling of like being afraid of change. I feel like in terms of change for people feel like changing is going to be something that's going to be like drastic, like it's gonna be dramatic or something, right? They're gonna be somebody completely new in the next day, right? And I feel like that's perhaps, some people's way of thinking on like why they're afraid of change. Like they're feeling like it's going to be all of the sudden everything, it's going to be something different that they're not used to, and they don't like that, right? But change is something that comes that comes in small breaths, right? Small breaths, small paces, short paces, right? It comes in like small little bits, right? Change can be something that's like very minimal in your life, and like you won't even realize that you've changed until somebody points it out to you. For the most part, some people won't realize that they've changed until it's been pointed out to them. And that's the whole thing with change, right? It's also minuscule. There are also tiny little fucking details, right? Suddenly you had something that you like. It could be with food, right? You had something that you didn't like before, but then suddenly you like it, right? And it's just like, and like you might kind of notice that, like, oh yeah, I didn't like this before, but now I like it. But then it also kind of like incorporates into like perhaps other minuscule changes that you don't even realize that that is happening to you, right? We're all going under some sort of metamorphosis. Sorry, I'm thinking about that fucking hentai. But we're all going into our own metamorphosis, right? We're all going into our little cocoon pod, but people are just a little too afraid to be in that pod. Albeit, when I really think about that pod, that does sound like sudden change as well. But as I said, change is minuscule. It comes in tiny bits and pieces. You change little by little, whether you fucking like it or not. You're going to fucking change, and you just have to come to accept it. All right? That's my message. I went on a whole thing about change back in like Bokuyama and stuff, but yeah, here I am ranting about change and how you shouldn't be afraid of it. But that's just how a lot of coming of age type stories are, right? You change. It's scary. It's spooky. Wow. All right. I don't know what else I wanted to talk about. I went on a rant, but if I have anything else to say, I will write it in the description down below. Whew. We've got a week left, right, for the school festival. So like, are we going to focus on that last week, or are we gonna like focus on that last week in the first half, and then we're gonna hit into the school festival, and then we're gonna continue? And then it's, with the way that they showcase it, it really feels like episode 12 is just gonna be a either like a nice little tie-up episode, they tied a little bow and everything, or is it more of a, hey dummy, go read the manga? Usually that's how last episodes are, right? Hey, you fucking dummy, read the manga if you want to know more. So I can't wait for them to tell me that in episode 12. But gotta get to episode 11 first. And, well, I've already said my outro before I went into this tangent. So if I don't see ya, then I'll see you when I see you.